Good evening, viewers and listeners on JCTV Africa. Thank you so much for joining us on this wonderful show. As always, it is a pleasure to see you and it is a pleasure to talk to every one of you, hoping that you are okay wherever you are. So tonight we are looking at the breaking news or the developing news of the arrest of Job Sikhala. Very disturbing. This is one of the men that has been arrested more than 60 times in the Zimbabwean politics. So we are going to look at that case and then the state of affairs based on what I said in the update that I gave you yesterday. So as I said, there is growing fear, and the fear that is there is that there is a possible massive protest that is likely to happen in order to force 2030 to not happen, and to force, because mind you, there is an issue of the referendum. The referendum is the only way that 2030 can happen. So it cannot happen through parliament. That is according to the law and that is according to the constitution. But over the years, what we've having problem with is it's not that the laws are not there. The laws are there, but ZANU-PF has struggled with compliance. They failed to comply with the laws of the land, which they claim to abide by, and that is the big problem. So I want to show you something that affirms what I'm trying to say here, that ZANU-PF is much afraid of possible massive protest that is likely to happen. Look at what the Daily News wrote here. The Daily News writes here, you can see here, police on high alert nationally as some obscure groups threaten to mount protest, right? So the issue that is there is they are worried that people or the likes of Vanageza, they might influence people to stage a protest. And such is what is worrying, because if a protest is going to be successful, then the 2030 is not going to happen. So all this investment that is going on, it is there to make sure that if there is going to be a protest, the war veterans are going to join in. Hence the arrest of Job Sikhala. And what is also then worrying on the other hand is what worries me a lot is the issue of the silence inside opposition. I see the likes of Linda Masarira, those or even Douglas Monzor. In terms of constituents, the only person that can speak with authority, who has got a bigger constituency of people that love him, that was voted in terms of statistics, is Nelson Chamisa. And his silence is somewhat worrying, because if Nelson Chamisa is silent like this, that means that if the 2030 is going to happen, maybe someone whom I'm thinking at this point, no one can match Nelson Chamisa's numbers at this point in time, opposition. So his silence, sometimes, that's what Desmond Tutu said, that sometimes silence can be betrayal. And to me, I feel like the silence of Nelson Chamisa is betrayal to the constitution, because if ZANU-PF successfully continues with the referendum and wins the referendum, whilst Nelson Chamisa has not organized people to march against it or to campaign against it, that means that we have a problem. Nelson Chamisa has actually been part of that mutilation of the constitution. To me, that's what it means. So the silence of Nelson Chamisa is very worrying, but also the arrest of the likes of Job Sikhala, knowing his influence, is also worrying to the people of Zimbabwe. Today, it's just a quick update. I'm not saying a lot, But also, what I want you to understand is there is an other news that was going on through the day that coincides with what I was saying yesterday, the story of confusion within the party. So the loyalty of party members is being tested. The loyalty of party members is being tested. Today, you saw War Veterans Fund that was launched in Lawai, and that also speaks volumes. I want you to see the number of people that were there at the War Veterans Fund in Lawai. Massive, massive numbers that were there. That was there at the War Veterans Fund in Lawai. But what it means is there is growing worry that if there is a faction inside ZANU-PF that is going to speak and say we are going left, then this whole meeting will scatter. So the investment that is there is mainly to make sure that they have the people that are holding they must be ones that are because you know that ZANU-PF relies on the war veterans for political education in the rural areas. These are the custodians of the constitution of the people. Ndo anotonga kuma village. So this buying of war veterans is a big sign that they want to make sure that they have. You remember the 1 million march that happened in 2017? This is the same similar issue that we are seeing now of the 1 million march. So very soon we are going to hear a protest or a solidarity march to 2030. And the reason for that is they want to make sure that any resistance from the opposition or from inside is spotted. You can see these are war veterans in Blawayo that are there. Massive numbers from of war veterans that are coming to this fund. But what is very, very worrying about this number is that this is in the promissory state. It's not, these people they were not given the money. So I was saying, as much as these funds are going to be given on a return basis, what is the main worry is the fact that these monies will never reach these people. These people are going to be used in order to defend the 2030, and after defending the 2030, and then they are going to be dumped. Most of them, they are not going to receive these monies. So it's just to be promised, we are going to give you money, we are going to give you money, which is not what Robert Mugabe did. Robert Mugabe was the man of hate him or love him, but he understood even the way how we address the land reform. He said, in other words, he was not promising people that we are going to do, because these are the people that are holding or that are keeping ZANU-PF in power in terms of numbers, right? Because when people are being frog marched to go, or when people are being said, you remember the statement by Kembo Mahadi saying that we know what we have got 23,000 number of cell groups, cells in Zimbabwe, in the rural areas, 23,000 villages in Zimbabwe. So out of those, we know that we have our votes there. You understand? So the people that have been allowing or enabling ZANU-PF to win the elections are these people, because these are the custodians. Most of them, they've got positions inside ZANU-PF. Say there is a district chairperson, is a DCC, they are operating in the branches, or they are just there on advisory role. So ZANU-PF knows this is their backbone. But if they fail to fulfill these funds, it is going to work against them. You understand? So this fear is also coupled with a lot of lies, Because at this point in time, if the funds is there, why not disperse it? These people were supposed to come there and not just receive a promise. They are supposed to come there and receive the monies. You're supposed to be lining up. They're supposed to be lining up, giving the money, and then they give the support. But at this point in time, they are being told they are going to be given shaka, 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 shaka. To me, this is also a disaster that is in the making for ZANU-PF, but also it spells confusion and panic. And the arrest of Job Sikhala in Manicaland is also very, very worrying. I spoke with Miss Sikhala about an hour ago. She sounded very, very worried, very, very dejected, and it is, I would imagine, somebody who had stayed more than 2 years without your husband, and less than a year, the husband is arrested. Very, very, very worrying. I tried to get hold of Sikhala Jr. He was unavailable. I also tried to get hold of Mr. Harrison Komo, the lawyer for Mr. Job Sikhala. His phone also was not reachable. So it's very, very worrying situation of Job Sikhala at this point in time for Zimbabweans. But also, what I also picked up from the conversation that I had with different individuals is that there is worry, but also this is a test to see how Zimbabweans are going to react. The arrest of Job Sikhala is also a test to see how Zimbabweans are going to react to this situation. And you know Zimbabweans right now, Zimbabweans are very, very much indifferent because of what I said earlier on, that the silence of Nelson Chamisa as the leader who was voted in 2023 is what is giving ZANU-PF all this free play to do whatever they want. Tweeting is not going to change ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF is on the ground. Look at what is happening. ZANU-PF is on the ground. They are busy doing things, you know. So I personally would want to see more action from Nelson Chamisa. I would want to see more action from opposition party leaders convening meetings of saying, let us stop this. Let us stop this, because if we're not going to stop this, no one is going to come and save us. No one is going to come and save Zimbabwe. No one is going to come and ZANU-PF will continue to mutilate the constitution. ZANU-PF will continue to trepidate upon our rights. And we are the ones who are going to be blamed in the future by our children that we failed. You understand? But also, what I also want to urge the Generation Z is that we also, the Generation Z of Zimbabwe, is very much disconnected to the issues of political education, and it is also very, very worrying. You look at the Gen Z of Kenya, how they protested against the laws of Kenya. It tells you how much people are so in sync with the political discourse of that particular country. They were not organized by Ruto. They were not organized by any political party. By Raila Odinga. They were not organized by Raila Odinga. They were not organized by any political party. It was just a grouping of young people. And if young people can unite and find their voice, this whole shenanigan that is going on, look at how, look at this picture of how old these Madalas are, or how, look at this picture. These are the people that are deciding our future. Do you see that? Some of them, they can't even walk, but they are the ones that are being paid. They're not paying the Gen Z. They're paying these people to say, Bataivan. They're paying these people to say, we are going to mutilate the constitution. They are paying these people to say, you are the ones who give us votes every year. They are paying these people to say, we understand that you are the ones who have been helping us to win over these years. But it is incumbent upon the Gen Z to stop it. Because if you look at the population of these people, the war veterans, I don't think there are more than 1 million. To be very frank, I don't think there are more than 1 million war veterans or war collaborators that are there in Zimbabwe. Majority of them, they've passed away. Majority. If you look at the people that have been laid at the National Heroes Acre, that should give you a cumulative number. That these people, I don't think they are more than 1 million, but they are the ones that are going to decide our fate for the next 8 years. So this is a cause for concern for all Zimbabweans who are like-minded, that if we really want change, we can't find change on Twitter, we can't find change when you just talk about it. It is time for action, and that action does not require us to be talking on the Twitter streets or shouting using voice notes. It needs us to take action. And that action is not something that should be taken lightly. ZANU-PF is on the trenches. They are doing it for their party. What about the opposition? What are they doing? They are talking on Twitter. So that, for me, is a cause for concern. Of course, you might say that you are not right now. Job Sikhala has been arrested, but this is it. It is what it is. We have to. The Constitution cannot be trampled upon, cannot be violated by few individuals. You understand? But I want to hear from you. What do you make of this situation of Job Sikhala? Personally, I'm hurt. Personally, I feel that as Zimbabweans, this political apathy that we have, or this standing ajar whilst things are happening, is very, very worrying. Very few people are talking about it. If you go into the streets, vanhu vatori busy nenyaya dzezimdanso, vanhu vari busy nenyaya dzekuti nhingi nanhingi vari kudanana nhingi, vanhu vari busy with other things that do not concern them. That is not what we need to be talking about. We need to be thinking, and especially my message to the Gen Z is, you guys, some of you have never had good roads growing up. You've never seen water coming out of your taps, except if you put a Jojo tank outside your house. It is upon you. The previous generation fought, which includes some of us. By the time when MDC was formed, I was still in high school. So people tried to fight ZANU-PF over the years, and some they died fighting. It is upon you, the young generation, to say, do we want the Constitution to be mutilated? So that is my message to everyone, that okay, you can go ahead and watch and be on TikTok and on this, but the same Gen Z that was in Kenya, they say they went on TikTok and they started talking. And I think that is where the conversation should be. We should be talking. What can we do about this? We should be talking to the government. You can't be doing this. We should be having conversations like the government should not be doing this to us. Understand? So personally, that is my opinion. I think we need to amplify the conversation. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about ways of doing this. We have the Constitution on our side. The Constitution allows this to say people can have conversations, but I think the amplification of the conversations should be more. We can't be seeing the yesteryear politicians or the people that were part of the political system yesteryear gatekeeping us or keeping us from engaging in a conversation. Because the general Zimbabweans will tell you, I remember in 2005, Operation Murambatsvina, I was in Mabuku, and what happened was, I was on my way going to church, and the guys were just throwing. That was my first time experiencing tear gas. I was walking to church, and mind you, what had happened was I had been deployed to Mabuku camp. I was working in the military. Deployed to Mabuku camp and was working close to Knoxville. Some of you know Knoxville, close to Janja. And I didn't know where Mavuku Zayoja Church, which was going, was. So as I was walking, I'm trying to ask people, Zayoja Eripapi, Lufamba Sekunda Zayoja. And as I'm walking, the police, they just came with the tear gas. They were throwing tear gas on the road. They were throwing tear gas on the road. And I had to hide from Pamba. Church because my heart really wanted to go to church and worship. And that was my experience. So some of the people who experienced Takamanya town because of all these things. But the Gen Z, the Generation Z, you have not seen some of this. Some of you maybe you saw it on TV in 2018 or on social media. But it is your time. For you to decide what you want to do. Do you want to sit and watch? It is all up to you. I'm not instigating anyone, but I'm just saying, let's have a conversation. If you are a Gen Z, let's have a conversation. What are you thinking? You are 17, you are 18, you are 20, you are 19. What are you thinking about your future? Knowing that in the next 8 years, you might be a father. Knowing that in the next 7 years, you could be having 2 babies. What are you going to be doing? Do you think this status quo is good enough to sustain you for the next 7 years? Some of you are going to university, some of you are already in university. Why is it that the people that are having this conversation are only in university? So this is a clarion call to young people or the people that watch this to say, it's all up to us. Are we going to be trying to go to UK? Look at what is happening in South Africa. They impose sanctions on South Africa. It means that South Africa is going to start to look at its citizens. They are going to prioritize our citizens. What are we going to do? Some of the people were too relaxed being in South Africa. You know, 3 years ago, I said to myself that I have to go back home. Now that I'm home, my call is, let us not sit on our laurels and see things happening and say, until when they are not being part of the politics. Politics. So it's all up to you, people of Zimbabwe, young people, you are 19, 20, 21, 22. You are in the Gen Z. You're born in the 2000, 2000. Think about your future. Think about what needs to happen to your children. What needs to happen to your children? Are you going to, because in the next 3-4 years, you want to get married? Or you might have a child out of wedlock. How are you going to take care of that child? Only 18 years. So my question to you is, what are you going to do to change your status quo? That being said, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and share this video. So I say probably an encouragement to everyone to say the system is panicking, but in their panicking, we need to also look at the possible options that we have as the citizen. Are we going to sit and watch, or we are going to take action and talk about what is provided in the Constitution for us to talk about 2030? We can galvanize people to say, let us vote no to the term extension. So this conversation must begin now, because ZANU is already walking the talk. We should be walking the talk and talk about voting no for the referendum. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.